Hi, I'm Georgia Johnson, and today I will be doing a problem solution speech on hunger versus waste and how we can close the gap. According to statistics, 1 in 8 Americans today are living in hunger, and 19% of children nationwide live in a food insecure household. Meanwhile, American households throw out approximately $1,600 worth of produce each year. A single restaurant in the US will throw out approximately £100,000 of food each year, and grocery stores are past the billion mark. Collectively, the US throws away $165 billion in wasted food annually. Only 40% of food in the US is eaten and the rest is thrown out. Americans are known to waste food at unfathomable levels, with misunderstandings of expiration dates, our need for perfectly formed looking produce, and misinformed restaurants and other food companies in fear of liability through food donations. Our waste clogs up landfill sites, creating increasing greenhouse gas emissions and therefore harming our environment. When couldn't it all be going somewhere else? It's hard not to look at these facts and think something is amiss here. The numbers just don't make sense. The balance of food wastage versus people living in hunger and food insecurity in this country is morally concerning. While this is all something we can each individually be aware of within our own homes, this issue needs to be met on a national level. A lot of restaurant waste is caused by lack of information. Many do not donate because of the fear of being sued, or liability issues should arise should they donate should the people that they donate to become sick. This is a myth. According to the article, Restaurants Officially Have No Excuse Not to Donate Leftover Food by Eleanor Goldberg on July 18, 2016, she writes, "Passed in 1996, the Bill Emerson Good Samaritan Food Donation Act protects restaurants from civil and criminal liability should a recipient get ill or hurt as a result of consumed donated food. While rules and regulations vary from state to state and sometimes even town to town, many are unclear of what the rules are today, and today many companies refuse to donate for fear of being sued." In the article, Grocery Stores Could Be Donating Way More Food by Jessica Fu, dated April 12, 2018, she states, "While states have jurisdiction over food and safety and handling for retail businesses and restaurants, many of them model their guidelines off of the Food and Drug Administration's Food Code. This federal document is published every 4 years and often states an example of what their food laws should look like. Local regulators adapt to their own regulations from the code, and therein lies the issue. The Food Code says nothing about food donations, so it leaves companies confused, so for safety and ease at the end of each day, their leftovers go in the trash and no one has to deal with it." I wanted to look closely at Massachusetts and how our state was taking action in this very expensive problem. I was pleased to learn that some major progress is being made. Supermarkets such as Shaw's, ShopRite, Stop and Shop are managing and recording their waste through statistics and data so that they can follow waste patterns. They are also teaming up with multiple food banks across the state, as are some restaurants such as Cafe Nero, Pizza Hut and Starbucks, who, according to the article, 6 restaurants that donate their food at the end of each day by Michael Salazar, dated August 3, 2018, they have pledged to donate 50 million free meals by 2020 and are on track, as have donated 5 million meals to date so far. I was pleasantly surprised by this news, but wondered why our hunger numbers still remain so high. I spoke with ShopRite's regional manager and Greater Boston Food Bank board member Bill Devon about what he believed the problem to be, and it comes down to food storage. Whilst food storage for dry and non-perishable items are satisfactory in most pantries across our state, they are able to store and distribute these items with ease. However, nutritionally, people are in need of the fresh produce, meat and dairy products, and these same food pantries are meeting challenges in being able to store and keep produce refrigerated for collection and donation, Mr. Devon informed me. There have been times when our stores will have these perishable products packed up and ready to go to the food banks, only for us to be called and asked to hold on to them, as they will no longer have room at the food pantry. We also don't have the space, so our only option in these instances are to discard the food. This happens all of the time. I wanted to figure out a solution. My first idea was an app that could help get food to those in need. The grocery store would have an app that linked to all local shelters and food banks, and they could see what was available for pickup and delivery, and then they could come and pick up and deliver to those in need at the end of each day. Also, those in the program who had access to the app themselves could see local stores with donations available and could directly collect them for themselves and their families, with a scan code within the app similar to a WIC check. In 2009, a Denver nonprofit launched We Do Not Waste, and they work directly with local food businesses around them with their own refrigerated trucks and deliver any leftover food 5 days a week into the mouths of the hungry. An app like this could help speed up their process a great deal. Secondly, another solution would be more government funding to increase refrigerated storage for food banks. We are already spending billions on food waste alone, so why not decrease those costs and find a more responsible place for it elsewhere? We could look to natural resources such as solar-powered refrigeration units for the many banks of our state to help keep costs down for both food banks and government spending. Thirdly, we could look to countries such as France, which according to the Guardian article, France to force big supermarkets to give unsold food to charities by Angelique Christopoulos on May 22, 2015. She writes, French supermarkets will be banned from throwing away or destroying unsold food and must instead donate it to charities or for animal feed under a law set to crack down on food waste. They added a second clause where if the companies were caught destroying food so that it was unable to be donated, then they could face $1,000 fines and even jail time. To some this may sound harsh, however, I believe with stronger government regulations on waste and possibly even incentives for companies to do better, we could really make a difference in food waste reduction. And finally, as we think about our environment, our wasted produce should not be sent to landfills where our produce lies in plastic and emits emissions. But instead, any produce that is no longer safe for the consumption of humans should be donated to agricultural companies for animal feed and compost. In the article, Why Americans Lead the World in Food Waste, Calories Are Cheap and People Are Picky, by Adam Chandler, July 15, 2016, Americans do not like to buy imperfect-looking produce. This was instilled in our culture along with our need for physical perfection during the perfect housewife explosion of the 1950s. I myself am guilty of this. However, food that is seen as trash for us would be perfectly fine for compost or animal feed. So this is where our produce waste should go. In conclusion, there is no excuse today for restaurants and supermarkets to be wasting the vast amounts of products that they are. There should be no reason for people to be hungry when we have more than enough food. We just need government control, regulations, incentives to be in place. Food education for companies on donation in the waste and hunger industries need to unite, pool their resources together to reduce our waste on a national level.